You're Wavy gonna react to the game that almost killed Madden. You about to see what game it is.
Historically, EA's Madden NFL series has seemingly always been the top football video game on the market. Before there was an exclusive license, when multiple companies were making NFL games, EA did consistently deliver the best product, with a few exceptions. Obviously, the NFL 2K series comes to mind, although it's a bit subjective whether you prefer Madden 05 or ESPN NFL 2K5. Both were great games with different strengths and weaknesses. But there was a time when one company made a competing NFL game so good that it wasn't possibly
It's an old school game.
a subjective matter. It was definitive and tangible. Sony's NFL Game Day 98 was better than any Madden ever made when it released. It was the new king of football video games, and for a brief period, Sony had truly bested EA Sports. And the 989 developers knew this. A confident Kelly Flock said back then, "If you want to play next year's Madden early, buy this year's Game Day." What a bar. This terrified EA. You want to talk about competition pushing studios to strive for greatness? In a really interesting Grantland article from 2012 written by Tom Bissell, a Madden developer who worked for EA during this period said that NFL Game Day scared the hell out of us. And he added, "We were always nervous about Game Day. We wanted to crush them." Eventually, of course, EA did crush them. It would be an admirable story, if not for how the future played out. But I'll spare you the repetition. NFL Game Day 98 was the moment that EA was truly, for the first time, defeated. For the first time, Madden had objectively lost. In an alternative reality, Game Day would still be king today, but they stumbled into the 6th generation of consoles while Madden improved exponentially because they felt like they had no choice. And Game Day was essentially cancelled before EA even got a hold of the exclusive NFL rights. But Sony's momentary victory deserves recognition. What made NFL Game Day 98 so great?
The Lions versus the Falcons. Minnesota versus Detroit. Yo, who here's what? Who here's watch the NFL, bro? Like, comment down below if you watch the NFL. Cause me personally, I don't watch the NFL. I don't even watch the Super Bowl. The last Super Bowl I watched, was mad long ago. I don't even know. But I don't really even watch the Super Bowl. You feel me?
And how did it compare to Madden 98? Let's dive
I'm
in.
not in tune with NFL. You know?
EA was having trouble developing Madden for the PS1. NFL Game Day, Sony's in-house series, had no issues and was becoming more and more popular each year. EA's Madden 96 was a complete mess during its PS1 development. They advertised that it was releasing, and they promised that the slow loading times and rough graphics from the demo were only temporary. This was supposed to be the first Madden on the console, and it was going to be based on the 3DO version of John Madden Football rather than the Genesis games because the game needed to be written in C, the programming language used on the PS1 and the 3DO. EA announced they were delaying the game, and once they realized the game wasn't going to be ready before Christmas, they canceled it. Madden 96 never came out for the PS1. This was the first time EA truly took an L with the Madden series. Honestly, I do respect EA for having strict enough standards to cancel the game rather than release something that damages their brand, like they often do today. Also, a leaked playable dev build of the canceled PS1 Madden 96 exists on the internet. That could be a cool video right there. Visual Concepts was actually working for EA at the time on Madden, and after this, they left to make the NFL 2K series. Madden did release Madden 97 for the PS1 the next year, but it barely released in time, was rushed, and while fans did like the game,
65 degrees.
anyone playing Game Day at the time knew Game Day was much better. But Game Day
Yo, I know these players be playing in the cold and it be outside, bro. Like, it be -degree weather and these players will still play. I couldn't do that. Like, especially outdoor, like, it's crazy.
98 took things to the next level. Thought to be impossible at the time. NFL Game Day 98 had fully 3D polygonal player models on the PS1, something EA had only been able to do with Madden 64 on the Nintendo 64 console. And Game Day 98 was the best looking and playing NFL video game ever made at that point in time. EA's Madden 98 was not even close. Game Day had won. Sony got Jerome Bettis, the cover athlete, and Raiders wideout Tim Brown to do motion capture for the game, and it paid off with some of the most realistic animations ever seen in a sports game at the time. The game was heavily marketed with a campaign.
Taxes was feeling unwelcome. Now Taxes is an open door to new TurboTax stores. Meet our experts. They do your taxes, so you can walk out with confidence. Now this is Taxes.
That said real NFL players prefer Game Day. Critics loved the game. It got praised by every outlet and was considered the greatest football video game ever made, the true GOAT of the virtual gridiron. Next Generation even said in their review that if Madden 98 were to outsell Game Day 98, then there is a serious problem with the game buying public. You don't see that kind of language used today. It was even a finalist for the best game of the year at numerous award shows, going head to head with games like GoldenEye 007 and the latest Final Fantasy at the time. The jump from 2D sprites to 3D models cannot be overstated. It was mind-blowing, and the game was still relatively quick to load despite this. Players looked and played and moved more realistically than ever before. Brett Favre had a cannon, Barry Sanders could juke and cut his way down the field, and you could actually see the players' jersey numbers and tell who was who. Likenesses had finally become a legit thing. The gameplay was revolutionary, from the button mashing mechanic to break tackles, to the new total control passing system that gave you the freedom to place your passes wherever you'd like to lead your receiver, and the possible combinations of spins, jukes, pitches, trucks, and more resulted in gameplay that gave the player the freedom to score however they would like. You could finally replicate what you saw on TV in a realistic, believable way. Up until this point, NFL games just were not this advanced. I mean, just look at Madden 98. Game Day 98 was full of depth too. You had the Pro Bowl, you could trade, create, release, and sign players. It was full of stat tracking, and while it didn't have a traditional franchise mode, season mode would go 3 seasons deep. There was nothing Madden 98 did better, nothing, outside of some people just preferring its feel subjectively, and they were probably just coping. Tatootie Gamer has a great video on this rivalry between Madden and Game Day that I recommend checking out if you want to hear more about the rivalry between these two games. Sony had EA's developers scared. While Madden would recover and have a fantastic jump to the PlayStation 2 generation, they still faced steady competition with Game Day and eventually NFL 2K. And while Madden was always ahead of those games in sales, 2K was closing the gap until that exclusive license was signed. Today Madden sits alone on its papier-mâché throne. What I find so fascinating about Game Day 98's story is that this game truly beat EA's ass, and no one could even deny it or argue otherwise. If not for this game, EA wouldn't have felt the pressure to keep innovating, and maybe we wouldn't have gotten those fantastic PS2 games. It's a common theme on this channel that competition brings out the best in not only each other but also in the world of video games and products. For many, a video game is the closest they'll ever get to experiencing their dream of playing for an NFL team, running an NFL franchise, or becoming an NFL coach. These games mean a lot to millions of sports fans across the entire world. Back then, you could feel the passion, the attention to detail, the importance of their platform, and the competitive drive that Sony had to achieve greatness, to do what many said was impossible, to beat the best game on the market and steal their spot. The NFL Game Day series was incredible, from the music to the menus to the gameplay, and Game Day 98 was 989's magnum opus. I hope we see a return to such fierce competition sooner than later. I've been waiting, as have y'all. Thanks for watching.
Okay, that's the vid. So yeah, but so this game like NFL Game Day '98, I believe that's the game called. Says saying like almost killed Madden. Feel me? But yeah, bro, like, let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all think. Have you guys ever played Madden? I played Madden before, but like, me personally, like, I don't know. I'm not really. I'm not really a big Madden fan. I prefer 2K over Madden, but that's just my opinion. But if you play Madden and you like football, let me know what is your favorite Madden game, cause I know it's Mad Madden series. You feel me? So yeah, bro, that's all I gotta say. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Y'all know the vibes. Wavy checking how you are.